Hello everyone, I'm just making another Alarak video, a quick one. This will basically be about when you should draft Alarak and how he fits into the draft. I'm going to make this super general. I'm not going to go into specifics of what exact heroes he's good against and what exact heroes he pairs well with, but I will give some general pointers. I do make quite a few mistakes in this footage, so be on the lookout for those as well. Now, personally, I've seen a lot of players picking Alarak specifically for the solo lane, and I'm gonna flat out say it now that Alarak should ideally not be solo laning. I have put him on the solo lane chart, I have given pointers or whatever how to play him in the solo lane, because at some point you will be doing that. But where Alarak is the most valuable is in your 4-man, is where the majority of the team is. This is simply because he enables kills. He looks for those kills. He allows kills to happen. If that makes sense. He doesn't secure the kills, but he starts the chain off. So he'll pull someone in, then the chain CC goes off, and someone blows up. So he is your melee mage. He is very reliant on his cooldowns. His cooldowns are fairly long. 12 seconds on his telekinesis, 8 seconds on his discord strike. You are super reliant on these abilities. Aside from his poking tool, to actually deal damage. What this also means is that you cannot afford to take another mage that has similar cooldowns, that come, at very long intervals. Because once you do use those abilities, you have nothing else, and you don't want two players on both the DPS players to have those kind of abilities, because outside of those you're not going to do anything. Let's say you miss. What happens if you miss the combo? What happens if the other person misses? It's too risky. What could happen in the best case scenario is that all of your abilities land, all of your other mages' abilities land, and you get a kill. But realistically, if you want the best composition possible, you don't want to do that. You want to take a ranged assassin with Alarak. It's really important that you take that. Even a Greymane can work, who's he's half melee, half ranged. So you will have Alarak in the 4-man. Your offlaner. This is where a lot of people find an issue. Your offlaner is usually going to be a melee as well. So this is why it's super important to have that ranged assassin in your 4-man. Because if you go for another melee in your 4-man, then you've got 4 melee at least, assuming your support is not. So just a takeaway message: play him as a mage. He is the mage. Get some ranged auto attack with him, and any tank. I mean, most tanks do, but any tank with reliable CC as support, like Malfurion or even Uther, with good CC to follow up on your combo, is great as well. Now, when you should pick him in a draft, also based on the map, if we could just go onto the maps here. How do I go onto the maps? Let's just go into custom games. Hey, Hanamura is there. So I'd rather say which maps I wouldn't take him in, because I'm able to take him in most of the maps. So Blackout's Bay, I wouldn't take him. It's a PvE map and it's boring. It's not really a competitive map. There's not much. There are team fights, but it's not as much as you would like. With Alarak, his trait is based on dealing hero damage, stacking up hero damage, and it's a dead map anyway. I don't want to talk about it too long. Dragonshire is fine. Which is the other map I wouldn't take him in? Warhead Junction. Now, Warhead Junction isn't like, I will not ever pick Alarak, but it's a huge map. His telekinesis and his poke really does help with actually capturing the warheads and preventing the enemy team from using them. But outside of that, he's not very useful. In Warhead Junction, you're very reliant on like 1v1 trades and small skirmishes, and honestly, I just feel like there are better heroes on this map than Alarak. It can work. I'm not saying Alarak is the worst, but I just would prefer a different hero on Warhead Junction. Volskaya is a bit different because Volskaya's objective, there's only one objective that spawns. So realistically speaking, you're going to have at least 4 members of the enemy team in that objective. So you are looking at very frequent team fights, despite the size of the map. Every other map is fine. You should be happy to take Alarak on. Cursed Hollow is actually also another one that is not the best, but it's okay. But every other map you should be more than okay. Like Brax's Holdout, you need to be in the 4-man for Brax's Holdout. You can't be solo laning. Alarak is far too valuable to be solo laning in these kind of maps. Same with Dragonshire. So just think about just think about trying to be in the 4-man as much as possible. Tell your team in your draft that you want that. This is where you think you'll be most valuable, and hopefully your team will respect that and draft around it. I want to talk about Battlefield of Eternity, which is basically whenever I see this map, I pick Alarak. This is an absolutely amazing map for Alarak, not only because you can push people into their mortal stuns, but actually that is one of the main reasons. The solo lane on this map is not too important, so even if you are thrown into the solo lane, it doesn't really matter too much because the immortal phase is usually quite long. So you do get your fair share of team fighting, even if you are being thrown onto the off lane and just soaking in whatever you're doing. So don't worry about that too much, but Battlefield Eternity is an amazing map for Alarak. I would highly recommend taking him there if you can. Okay, so that's it for part 1. I just wanted to quickly go over, in a general sense, where Alarak plays in the draft and what his role is, basically. In the next video, part 2, I will talk specifically which heroes he's good with and which heroes he's good against, and maybe a few tips and tricks on the maps specifically. I've mentioned which maps are good, but I'll talk about why and what you can do in those maps. So I will see you the next video.